Everybody, welcome back to Grumpy Acres. Well, as you can see, we're on the other side of the homestead today in the kitchen, and I thought that we would make some yogurt. I was working with a lady in my last job, and she taught me how to make yogurt at home. And I've been doing it since way before we moved out to Grumpy Acres. And, you know, it seems to taste better. There's a little bit more freedom involved, knowing what's in your food and making it yourself, you know, as opposed to the store-bought yogurt that's got lots of sugar and additives in it. This is 100% natural. The only thing that's in it is milk and the yogurt culture. So let's go over here and take a look at what we need to make our yogurt. In order to make our yogurt, we're going to need a clean pot, a cooking thermometer, something to stir our yogurt with. I like wooden utensils, I like the feel. We're going to need for this recipe a gallon of milk. You could use a little bit less, and we'll need our yogurt culture. Here we've got two different types of yogurt cultures, and I'll go into that here in a little bit. But first, let's get started. So the first thing we'll do is we'll add our milk. I've already added a half gallon, so we'll add the second one. The milk that we're using today came from one of our dairy goats. Actually, she's our only dairy goat right now. We're getting maybe a gallon every 3 days from her. You can use store-bought milk too, and you can use goat's milk, you can use regular cow's milk. I found that raw fresh milk is the best as far as taste goes, but anything will work. The next thing we do is we turn the heat on, and we want to bring this up to 185 degrees. So that's going to take about 15-20 minutes to do. We don't want to do it too quick, because if we do that, we'll scorch the bottom of the pan. And I don't know about you, but if you've ever cleaned a scorched pan, scorched milk out of the bottom of a pot or anything, it is not fun. So we'll take a break, and we'll let this heat up, and then we'll come back and continue on. All right, well, we're letting that heat up. Let's talk about the yogurt culture for a little bit. Now, probably the simplest way to do this is to go to the store and buy some plain yogurt. You can use that as the culture. It only takes about half a cup per gallon, and it works pretty well. But we started buying yogurt culture off online. Here's one. This is called a Type 1 yogurt by a company called Biema.com, and this will give us Greek yogurt type of taste. And we've got another one here from a company called Yoda, and I'm not even going to try to read off what kind of culture this is. But this one gives us a milder tasting yogurt. One thing about the store-bought is whichever type you buy, that's how your yogurt will come out. So if you buy a Greek yogurt, it'll come out thicker and tangier. And if you buy a regular yogurt, the key to using store-bought yogurt is do not get anything with flavors in it, because they tend to have more sugar and additives, and I tried it once and did not have good luck. Now your mileage may vary on that, but that's just my experience. So we're going to go back and we're going to stir the yogurt occasionally. That'll help keep it from scorching the bottom of the pot. And then we'll check back in as soon as it gets up to temperature. Okay, as you can see, we've hit our temperature range of 185 to 190. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and turn the heat off. Now, the reason why we heat this up to 185 is so we can kill off any bacteria that's already in the milk, because we don't want it competing with our yogurt culture. Some recipes call for holding at 185 for 15 minutes, but quite frankly, I've done it both ways, and it comes out just as well, hitting 185. So what we're going to do now is we're going to let this cool down to between 115 and 120 degrees. I'm going to let it do it naturally. In the winter times, I'll put the lid on it and stick it outside so it cools down quicker. Right now it's the middle of June, so we're just going to leave it on the stove. We are going to take and place a lid on it so we don't get any contamination in it. And then we'll come back as soon as it gets down to the right temperature. All right, we're back. We've let the yogurt get down to 115 degrees. Now it's time to add our culture. So today, we're going to go ahead and use this Type 1 culture. that's going to give us a Greek yogurt type of taste, really tangy and a little bit thick. So the recipe calls for a 1/4 teaspoon per gallon of milk. And so according to the little handy dandy measuring stick that Yoda has, a 1/4 teaspoon equals a pinch. So we are going to stick a pinch of yogurt culture in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it in there, and we're going to let it sit for a second. And then we're going to stir it in and stir it thoroughly. Now, this package of yogurt here will make about 50 gallons worth of yogurt. Like I said before, where you could use the store-bought yogurt as a culture starter, historically you could use the previous day's yogurt. So in theory, you could take this and turn it into thousands of gallons of yogurt just by keeping and making yogurt every day. So in austere conditions, you don't have to run to the store. You can use the yogurt you made the day before as a starter. So we have stirred this in well. So our oven here has a bread proofing setting. So what we're going to do is we're going to set that, hit start. What that'll do is it'll heat the oven up to about 100 degrees and keep it there. We're going to put the lid on our pot, and then we're going to grab a towel and wrap it around the pot. So what this towel will do, this towel will act as an insulator, and it'll help keep our yogurt warm overnight. And what we'll do is we'll put it in the oven and let it sit there for 10 to 12 hours, which by the time I'm doing this, it's going to be tomorrow morning, and I'll be able to show you how it turns out. So let me get this in there, and then we'll be back in the morning to check it out. Now, if your oven doesn't have a bread proofing setting, that's okay. What you do is you set it to about 275 and turn it on, and you let it preheat. And when it gets up to about 150, 175 degrees, turn it off. You take your pot wrapped in the towel and you stick it in there and you let it set. Overnight, it'll stay warm and the culture will do what it's supposed to do. And in the morning, you'll have creamy yogurt. So like I said, see you in the morning. Good morning, we're back. It's been about 10 hours and we've taken the yogurt out of the oven. Let's take a look and see how it's set up. Ooh, as you can see, it's set up nice and thick. Let's take a taste and see what it tastes like. Ooh, that's good. That's nice and tangy. Okay, so what we'll do from here is I'll transfer this to a crock with a lid and I'll stick it in the refrigerator and we can eat on it until it's gone. One thing I forgot to mention is you can do this recipe in an Instant Pot. We've done it that way before and it works perfectly fine. I kind of enjoy doing it the old-fashioned way, but it works just as quick and just as easy in the Instant Pot. So to recap, we want to use whole milk. We want to bring it up to about 185 degrees. Let it cool down to about 115. Add our culture. And then put it someplace warm for about 10 to 12 hours. If you go any longer than that, it's going to start getting runny. What we like to do with it is take instant oats and put it in there and just stir it up and have that for a hearty breakfast. If you don't have instant oats, you can use regular oats and you can put it in a mason jar the night before, mix it up, and let it set overnight, and it works great. You can add fruit to it to give it a little bit of flavor. You can put honey, a little bit of syrup in it. Do whatever you want. You could use it as a replacement for sour cream. And one thing we like doing is we like taking this and sticking it in cheesecloth and hanging it. Let gravity remove all the way, and we get a really nicely made homemade cream cheese. Great replacement for store-bought stuff. Well, That's about it for now. I got to go take care of the animals and get ready for work. Y'all have a great day, and until next time, Grumpy G clear. Thanks, Milo.